Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us once again for another episode of Sealed for Good. Today we're continuing to look at the major changes of AS 3740 2021, the internal wet area standard. For those of you that have joined us, here's a quick recap on the last videos. So on today's episode, we'll be focusing on looking at the physical installation and the material components of the waterproofing system. In the past, AS 3740 hasn't done much to address these components, and this is particularly important when we're looking at poor installation, and it really does help address these issues. This is particularly important as it does help to address where we're seeing a lot of waterproofing failures. So correct installation, preparation and system selection were simply implied in the past, but the new standard does a much better job at making sure that it's clearly outlined. We'll also be looking at the new terminology under the standard, as this is used to help define between the mandatory directives and elective recommendations. Our pre-inspection section will be divided up into two distinct categories, which really covers the preparation of substrates and then the material requirements. So the following extract from the standards detail the preparation of key building elements that the waterproofing contractors are faced with. These include the leak control flange, which must be recessed into the substrate and not protrude above it. Surface preparation, which provides recommendations for surface prep, for example, clean and dry, free from dust, sharp protrusions, and general contamination. And also the requirements behind surface falls, making sure floor surfaces, the area where the membrane is going to be applied, must be graded and there are falls to waste. Moisture content, where substrate moisture must be checked before applying the waterproofing system. Wall sheeting preparation must be water resistant and installed to manufacturer's recommendations. Render preparation, smooth and uniform, and the list goes on. The second part of the pre-installation checks refers to the material components that comprise of the waterproofing system. Here's an example of page 59, Appendix E. We can see that the standard establishes the need for compatibility between the system components to avoid potential failures as summarized in this appendix under point E.1. All products in the waterproofing system should be compatible to prevent undesirable outcomes. Incompatibility between components of the system can lead to bubbling, blistering, retarded curing, or delamination. The inclusion of pre-installation checks illustrates the importance of the contractor in performing their due diligence regarding the application and system selection. It's a reminder of the criticality of their role in ensuring the success of the waterproofing application. After all, it's a contractor who accepts a substrate, how that substrate is prepared, and the selection of waterproofing system and all its components to meet the requirements of the standard. This is why the standard outlines the importance for the contractors to maintain sound knowledge on both materials and building elements, allowing them to make educated decisions to ensure successful and compliant system installation. The standard provides a useful checklist under Appendix D. One of the criticisms of past editions of the standard was defining mandatory requirements from elective processes. The standard attempts to create greater clarity by establishing a new set of terms. For example, the word may, which indicates the existence of an option. Should indicates a recommendation, and shall, which indicates that the statement is mandatory and must be done. Examples of the use of this new terminology include moisture content in the substrate shall be measured prior to the membrane application. Leak control flange now shall be recessed into the substrate and not protrude above it. All surfaces where a membrane is applied should be treated to improve adhesion of that membrane. So it's important for everyone involved in the waterproofing process to be familiar with the standard to ensure the importance of education, engagement in training courses like Gripset Accredited Practitioner program, also known as GAPP, engaging manufacturers' technical departments for assistance, using the resources available to them, and self-learning, because like that old saying go, knowledge is power. Thanks for joining us today. Please feel free to comment or inquire via our socials regarding any thoughts you have on the standard, topics you'd like to see covered, and general queries. We'd love to hear from you. Until then, happy waterproofing.